And we're live. Ready.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. This is episode 111 of the Cardano Effect podcast, the Gauntlet series. We have another 3 special guests who we'll be introducing very shortly. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Rick, how are you doing this morning? What's going on? What's happening?
Hey, doing great. I'm very glad to have Umed, Robert, and Boone here with us today for the Gauntlet. And we're going to be starting off with Umed with the PoolTool upgrades. Then we're moving over to Robert. The general idea here is each of the folks here have proposals in on Project Catalyst, and they're going to tell us about what their idea is, what their experiences are, and how they're going to get these ideas executed, how they're going to deliver. And the general format is in the first 5 to 10 minutes, Umed will be describing his project. Then the following 5 minutes will be questions from the Gauntlet. Everyone here, Robert and Boone, can also ask questions. We'll ask him questions about his proposal. And then the last 5 minutes, we will go to chat. So there'll be a 20-minute segment. Then we'll go to chat and we'll get questions from all of the viewers who are watching this live stream right now. All right. So that's the general layout. And I do have a stopwatch. So I'll be keeping time. It's not to be rude. It's just to manage time well. That's the key. And we'll get started here right away. So Umed, welcome, sir. Thanks for returning to the Cardano Effect and to the Gauntlet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me today.
Right on. All right. So tell us about your proposal.
Yes, so the purpose of my today's appearance is to talk about PoolTool. As you know, we have partnered with, I've partnered with Mike, Pool Ticker called Love, Pega, and myself, and we are revamping PoolTool or enhancing its capabilities into a powerhouse of analytical information. And that's our basic idea. It's not going to be another Explorer, of which there are plenty, but it's going to be a nexus of a rich analytical information that will bring both the stake pool operators and the delegators together to have meaningful conversations, to have meaningful interactions, and as a result, we're hoping that it will bring a lot of diversity and decentralization. Here's the problem with the current way we rank pools. If we just maximize the current ranking system based on cost, we will end up either on exchanges or on cheap VPSs that charge you, 6 euros per month. And that is we see that as an existential sort of problem for the platform, for Cardano community as a whole. And in order to move away from that, we are proposing to tap into this rich diversity of pool operators around the world by adding extra services on top of pools. Let's say that I am an accountant, a professional accountant running a pool. What I can do, in addition to being a pool operator, I can say, okay, whoever is staking with me is going to get accounting services at the end of the year when they need to do their taxes. But you don't just basically get to use my services because you are a stakeholder for one epoch, but you need to be a loyal customer, sort of, so that there would be some sort of a loyalty score for delegators that will allow the stake pool operators to have a tiered level of services for their offerings. So let's say that I am an accountant. I have these skills that I could sell through my pool, and if you have staked with me, let's say 10,000 ADA for 5 epochs, then you get to unlock those sort of services, things like that. So that's one of the ways to basically, describe the system. The second way is that the stakeholders will get to know us a little bit better, in the sense that, if I am a stakeholder that cares about certain aspects of certain pools, let's say, I'm interested in let's say pools that are in Africa or in Kenya or whatever. And I'm interested not only in pools that are in Africa and Kenya, but the pools that are in Africa and Kenya doing specific things that I care about. You will be able to find those pools through our platform and delegate to them. And guess what? When you are bringing all these diverse skill sets to the platform, it will automatically decentralize. It will automatically get to diversity that we need, and it will automatically become a very difficult task to basically compare pools on different sort of dimensions, because those dimensions will be so rich that it will be difficult to say, okay, this is the same pool, unless you're just basically caring about cost. The comparison is not going to be apple to apple. So it's going to be, you have 5 to 10 different kinds of breads in supermarkets, right? If you think, I grew up in Soviet Union, we had 2 different kinds of breads. I'm trying to move away from that, right? So we want to basically bring a lot more offerings to the pools so that they could compete with the ones that are only competing on costs. So that's the thing. And what's going to happen eventually? We will have consortiums of pools, getting together and saying that, okay, I am an accountant. I can provide X, Y, and Z, and somebody else is a graphic designer, and they can produce great works of arts that the stakeholders will be able to use. But if you're in a consortium, for instance, you basically say, okay, we're going to charge, let's say 3%, and all of us, and whoever is taking with us will get free access to all our services. So that's a business proposal there to make sure that if I am part of the consortium, then I get this basket of goods and services, access to them. So that becomes a viable business sort of on top of stake pool operators. Now, the platform itself will also allow you to have different kinds of promotions. Let's say that you are or want to distribute some tangent cards, which I have. You could basically do a randomizer, pick the verified stakeholders, and then say, okay, because you're going to be talking to verified stakeholders, you can just basically say, okay, you want this and this and that. And on top of that, you can also appeal directly to your stakeholders to build something. For instance, if I want to build a dApp, I can just basically get to my stakeholders and say, hey, I want to build this dApp, would you be willing to support me? And if the answer is yes, then the treasury will not be encumbered by those requests. So that's another sort of thing. Think about it 3-dimensionally. First of all, the stake pool operators win because they will be talking to the verified stakeholders. The stakeholders will win because they will eventually find whatever they care about. It's not going to be only about profits and costs, which it could be. But in addition, for those who care about other dimensions of pools, then they will have the choice. And the third is that, the treasury is not going to be inundated with a lot of requests, small requests that could be funded directly by stakeholders themselves. So that's basically the basic idea. And the way it would look, can I share my screen or is it later?
You can share. Yeah, you still got 3 minutes left, sure.
All right. So the way it would look for a stake pool, for a stakeholder is something along these lines. So you verify your address by sending a certain amount to a address that we tell you, and then that will unlock this sort of a dashboard for you. So what do you see here? You can basically, if you're delegated to many pools, you can pick the pool that you want, and then these numbers will change based on the pool that you have picked, and then you will have a direct channel to the stake pool operator here. There will be stake pool news, and then there will be stake pool services. That tab over here could be anything. It's defined by the stake pool operator himself. Some pools will have services, some pools will not have some services, but the idea is that if you have something in addition, you post it there. I will post research, for instance, because I kind of like going deep into the ways that things work and uncover some interesting truths. So that will be helpful for the community. So that's basically the proposal in a nutshell. And yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So that's great. That was 8 minutes. Very much appreciated. And I'll go ahead and lead in with the first question, and then Philippe, Robert, and Boone, you can follow up. And my first question is, tell me a little bit about your experience yourself and your teammates. What's the background?
All right. So my background is in finance. I've financed a lot of projects around the world. I am an infrastructure banker. I finance, roads, power plants, and water plants, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my expertise. But I have an MBA degree, which makes it even broader, because exposes you to different kinds of aspects of running business, from marketing to finance to anything else. And I have always been interested in technology. I've built my first computer when I was a teenager, and I've always been interested in programming. So and I see that the finance and programming are converging in space, especially Cardano, because of the fact that it's such a well thought out platform.
Yep. All right. So in a nutshell, tell me about your teammate developers, and then we'll roll over to the other guys. We got 4 minutes left.
Yeah, so we have Michael Fulman. He's an accomplished IT executive. He's worked for 15 years and in customer management, R&D, operations, financial management. He's pretty adept. He created PoolTool, so that tells you something about that. And he's fluent in Chinese and Korean, and he's the CEO of ZenFlows, which is a small company, I guess. He runs out of Oregon. Gabor Peto is another teammate of mine, and he has created a Pegasus pool and Pegasus app, which eventually transformed itself into a PoolTool app. And he's a senior software developer in his day job in London.
Okay, thank you.
Umed, first of all, kudos to PoolTool for being around for a long period of time and being a pillar for operators and delegators. So kudos to that. But I have a question about privacy. So you mentioned that there are a lot of certain operators will be able to bundle packages. For example, an operator that could offer accounting services if a delegator delegates for a certain number of epochs. But that also implies that there's going to be some sort of transfer information. There's going to be an identity for that particular delegator that the operator will have access to. And especially with so many pool operators out there, and some of them we know who they are and some of them we don't, how do we, are there any issues to deal with privacy concerns about, people just fishing and creating pools and trying to bait and switch people that are delegating or and doing nefarious actions?
So we've discussed this kind of extensively in PoolTool within our team. Our main goal is to provide privacy for the stakeholders, and the way we intend to do this is to make sure that we don't require names, and all we need is an email in order to basically register them. And they don't have to use that email, or they can make it up to basically use it one time. It doesn't have to be like something that they, get communications constantly from us. And as far as the system goes, they will be identified by their wallet number, and you don't know anything else except for their wallets. I don't think the SPOs won't be able to look at their emails. So that's why we have this, special place for SPOs to talk and to interact with their stakeholders. So they're not going to be able to basically take their email and say, hey, what's up? So it's all going to be kind of curated in that respect, because that guy who, is staking with you might decide to go somewhere else next epoch, and you don't want to be harassed or by the stake pool operator who's pissed at you. So so I don't know. So but the thing is that right now what's happening is that it's a one-way mirror, right? All all the stakeholders see everything about us as stake pool operators. We don't, and I think it's okay up to a point, but you need to be able to manage the quality of your portfolio. The way that I think about it is that, let's say you have 100 stakeholders, and some of them are transient, they come in and go, and some of them are really loyal. You want to be able to identify the loyal ones and give them the appreciation through the added levels of services, and the pool tool will allow you to do that. So you can have a pricing. So the stakeholder loyalty score is going to start somewhere at let's say 500 for everybody, and depending on how fast you move, switch pools and do all sorts of things that are not really productive from a protocol level, let's say, or for rewards level, but you keep doing that, then your score will go down. If you stay, even if you start with a small amount, and if you stay with the same pool, then you build the goodwill, so to say, because that's our livelihood as stake pool operators. We can't just basically, we can just basically say, okay, well, this is what it is, but there has to be a way for us to reward people who are staking with us, and giving us stability, because that's a natural evolution of this system, I think.
Okay. Yeah, very thoughtful. All right, we got 1 minute and 10 seconds left with Umed, and then we go to chat. Robert, Boone.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was just it wasn't quite clear to me in terms of what was being delivered for this funding round, the 6 months, and exactly what the ask was, etc.
So I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again?
It wasn't clear to me exactly what was planned to be delivered in the 6 month period, and what the ask was.
The ask is 280,000 ADA. And what we want to deliver is basically, it's in this proposal that we have. Let me just gonna read it for you.
Got 30 seconds.
Yeah, you got stakeholder tools, SPO tools, and then platform tools. And within the stakeholder tools, you have cryptographic address verification, private dashboards, stakeholder analytics, and premium services. SPO tools is the pool owner cryptographic verification. We have to re-verify everybody. Private dashboards, this basically tells you what the quality of your portfolio is, etc. Stakeholder loyalty score, pricing tier, and randomizer.
All right. And time. That was 15 minutes at that point. And then lastly, we go to chat.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Robert and Umed.
Thank you.
Nice work.
All right.
Okay. So I'm scrolling through chat. Your Cardano update says, how will PoolTool generate revenue other than your stake pool? Is there a plan for that? Yes.
So we have plans to basically create subscriptions for both the pool operators and stakeholders. And there's two dimensions to that. One is that we want to generate some revenue and be independent. We don't want to go back to the treasury every now and then, unless we need to build some functionality. So every stake pool operators will have to basically subscribe to our services in order to get access to those dashboards. The status quo is that you don't get dashboard if you don't want to pay. But if you want to have access to these dashboards and analytics, rich analytics, then you'll have to basically verify your pool. The first is that we will make revenue. The second is that there are so many different pools out there, right? And they all come and go. And we want to make sure that the list stays sanitized, in the sense that you don't want to have dead pools in there with dashboards and whatnot. So being shown to stakeholders. So if you are a pool that paid its dues, let's say that's a yearly subscription, and then the next year you decided that, hey, this is not good, I'm just gonna basically stop working and close my pool. Then if you don't subscribe again, then that pool will not be visible, let's say, or to the stakeholders in the dashboard at least.
Okay.
And then the stakeholders will have also the same kind of functionalities. They will have to verify their addresses periodically. We'll probably start the pilot with an X number of stakeholders getting the first year of subscription free up until a point to just basically build some audience. But beyond that, we'll have to start charging. Yeah.
Okay. Very short question from Roberto Janet is: are you going to have Atala integration? We got 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Atala integration.
Yeah, that was the question.
Yeah, well, I mean, if there is a use case for that, yes, absolutely. I mean, I can see the reason why we would want to do that. If you have an identity and a Atala, and that identity gives us a rich analytical sort of information about you. Yeah.
All right.
Richard asked, will it be possible for stakeholders to give a review to stake pool operators, so they can give good reviews or bad reviews for certain stake pool operators?
That's actually a very good idea. Yes, why not?
Okay.
All right. Excellent. Good feedback.
And James Keever says, will this have an API or have metadata or something that SPOs can use to pull and customize the UI of the data PoolTool gives? Or will PoolTool be the only source of info?
Well, we'll try to basically, in order to make sure that everything is preserved according to the types of rules that we have. For instance, if we let it go in a sense that everybody is free to do whatever they want, then uniformity gets lost, and we want to keep that. So you have to kind of get into PoolTool to have access to all these things. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think that was all of them.
And quick question from me, Umed. How long do you think it's going to take to roll out some of these features? What's the time horizon?
Well, I've been talking to my teammates. They think it's pretty doable within 3 to 6 months. And by the way, you will have these features also on your mobile. So that's another thing. So we're going in two different directions and implementing everything there. There's some misconception in the space that we're taking 3 to 6 months to do this. I think it's a little bit misconstrued because if we deliver something faster, we shouldn't be penalized for it. We can't just basically say, I'm gonna take this money and go do this stuff for 24 months, because that's it reminds me of if I can make a quick comment about this Soviet post-Soviet country. We went there and we said we will build you a water plant that will allow you to spend 150 liters of water per day per person. And he's like laughing at me saying, we spend 300 liters of water per person, So it's like an opposite of way of thinking. We're thinking about efficiency of a system, and we deliver faster. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Umed, and that was time. That was perfect on that last section. All right. So the next proposal that we will be going to will be Robert O'Brien's The Smart Market Prototype for NFTs. His proposal link is down below in the description. Umed's proposal link is down below, and so is Boone's. All right. Now, before we go on to Robert, I would like people watching the podcast, let us know in the chat, how did you like Umed's proposal on a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being average and 10 being awesome? Let us know. What do you think? 5 being average, 10 being awesome. Let us know what you think in the chat. Give Umed some feedback. Give him some feedback in the descriptions down below. And thank you, participants, everyone in the audience. Thank you very much for your feedback. We appreciate it. All right. Thank you, Umed. Next, we have Boone, right, Philippe?
No, we have Robert.
Oh, Robert. Oh, yeah. So Robert won that part of the coin toss, so we get that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Robert, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm just going to share my screen.
Okay.
So, 1 second. Can you all see that okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Good to go.
Right. Okay. Right. To start, I just want to say thank you for having me on. As a collaborative community effort, it's nice to be able to present our proposal for developing smart markets on Cardano. This proposal and the team of 6 behind it was bootstrapped through activities surrounding the current Catalyst Fund. The idea of a smart market itself has been around for quite a while. You may use one or more computer-assisted markets every day. The essential idea is to use algorithms to find optimal matches of market resources, especially when they have unique properties, making it difficult to compare items. The Cardano architecture is well suited to this. We could not do the proposed design on Bitcoin or Ethereum, for example. Right. The Fund 2 challenge is how can we encourage developers and entrepreneurs to build dApps and businesses on top of Cardano in the next 6 months? We have interpreted the challenge statement to mean we should not be proposing a dApp or a startup. Rather, we need to figure out how to attract developers and entrepreneurs. Since we are both ourselves, we asked, well, if we're interested in exploring novel solutions to complex economic challenges, what would make us pay attention? Given the competitive funding constraints, tight timeframe, and existing efforts, what would fit into the mix of the whole Cardano community? What is clear, and this has been true from a lot of my experience, there is a limited knowledge on how to use Cardano to the fullest, especially the extended UTX model and native custom tokens. Our solution to that problem takes the shape of a T. We're going to go broad on 5 key topics that contribute to the applied problem. Engineering a smart market protocol for non-fungible tokens, sorry. We're diving deep on a very specific application of the protocol, applying a smart market design to the exchange of unique trading cards, using emergent token engineering practices to design and implement prototypes of the necessary smart contracts. The development will be done in public, and all content and code will be made freely available under Creative Commons and open source licenses. The deliverables have been designed to let entrepreneurs, learners, software developers, and software engineers to use the resulting information in a way that suits their learning style, addressing the previous challenge stated. The essential idea of a smart market is to find matches of market resources, especially for unique items or complex combinations of them. At the heart of a smart market are batched auctions. You'll be familiar with the English auction used by eBay, the Vickery auction behind Google AdWords, and the order book when trading cryptocurrencies as a continuous double Dutch auction. Continuous auctions have some serious problems that enable sophisticated traders to strip mine retail investors. They only work with simple pairs with sufficient liquidity. They are not suited for matching unique items in complex interrelated exchanges. Smart markets are a way to solve complex resource allocation problems in a fair and efficient manner. There are many domains where smart markets are used. A transport and labour market such as Uber uses auction mechanisms to efficiently allocate drivers to rides, for example. But these are centralised approaches. Using an Oracle pool architecture to integrate the algorithms off-chain, we can keep them honest and redistribute the value more equitably. This presents new revenue opportunities for stake pool operators and makes the network more robust. Smart markets are particularly well suited to multilateral trades, where resources being traded are differentiated by their properties. Non-fungible tokens, or NFTs, representing items such as trading card assets are an example of this. Dark Country sell game assets on Ethereum, EOS, and Wax, and we have initiated a collaboration with them to use their cards as a demonstration of Cardano's custom token features. Using these NFTs, a smart market can enable players to trade cards directly without going through some intermediary unit of account. Custom tokens can be created for any bundle of rights, traded with ease irrespective of the number of issued tokens or exchange market depth. Our intention is to construct a toolkit of material that complements the training from Cardano Foundation, IOG, and Emergo, broadly covering topics that highlight the unique features of Cardano with understandable language and real-world application. And that's a key point, real-world application. NFTs, smart markets, and Oracle pools combined. Yet allow the engineer to go deep when desired, exploring the token engineering work and protocol implementation. But we also want to inspire. So, for example, Charles Hoskins has discussed the problem of distributing fertilizer in Ethiopia. How can you make sure a ton of fertilizer landed in Djibouti is efficiently distributed to farmers? A smart market can routinely allocate distribution throughout a supply chain network based on historical behavior, such as the 1 ton of fertilizer in Djibouti is 1 ton applied to the land. This is the essence of economic identity, rewarding honest behaviour and building reputation directly into the transport network to improve efficiency. So by inspiring developers and entrepreneurs, our toolkit will demonstrate and reinforce the internal economic logic of the Cardano network, creating and returning a return to the community. Now, fundamentally, the real competition within the respect of the challenge is that we're attempting to address in this proposal is getting the attention and getting it and retaining it of developers and of entrepreneurs. Blockchains are basically a commodity. I have a literal menu of options, so why would I choose one blockchain over another? Cardano is positioned as a third generation blockchain, so we need to help explain that, help define it to compare and contrast. In the sense that Bitcoin is the store of value, the digital gold. Ethereum is the world computer for DeFi, lending rails for the digital credit card, so to speak. Cardano is a financial operating system, building a decentralized digital market for economic identity. To encourage developers and entrepreneurs to build dApps and businesses on Cardano, we need to really highlight those strategic positions. And our proposal is testing the thesis, demonstrating it, and calling attention to the benefits of decentralization on Cardano. To do this, we're asking for half the fund. For what amounts to basically learning prototypes, education content, and outreach. The activities are typical for any open project that wants community buy-in. There are 6, actually probably 7 people that will be working on this project. We've budgeted for 2.5 full-time employees over 6 months. The deliverables are modular, so funding can be tied directly to concrete outputs. All ideas, codes, design, documentation, and educational content will be open. The proposal could be broken down into smaller units, but it's more efficient as one, balancing effort, commitment, and lost opportunity across the 6 or 7 team members. The funding will be allocated to deliverables outlined in the roadmap, and specific team members will then be compensated based on their contributions. The team itself, it came out of a Telegram discussion during the first week of the Catalyst Fund, and has been proposed by myself and Nick Hyams. It balances our skills, interests, and learning objectives. I'm a distributed systems engineer with a background in functional programming in Erlang and OCaml. Nick is a stake pool operator, teacher in chemistry, and all-around community wrangler. And I would not be doing this without him because of that. Andrew and I have worked together for several years in London. Andrew is also a distributed systems engineer with a background in Java and the functional version of it called Scala. Joanna has a background in visual arts, a photographer. He is currently learning to code blockchains through the Emergo Academy. Jack is my son. He's just completed his degree in commercial music. In the last few months, he's been learning Cardano and everything surrounding it, making videos about it on his Metaphor channel. David is an actor and stunt performer appearing in Hollywood films. He's an avid historian and great talent, and he's making our content relatable, which, given the subject matter, is no easy task. And a UX designer will be joining the team. So using a trading...
30 seconds left.
Yep.
30 seconds.
Use case throughout a material. There's 3 streams of activity. Community engagement. Half of the project is directed at protocol engineering. This is associated with the NFTs, auction protocols, and Oracle pools. There'll be some UX exploration. Keeping in mind that this is only prototype work. As a result, it's not dependent on Plutus being released to the mainnet. And we'll be releasing material every 4 or 5 weeks to help broad understanding of Cardano advanced features. All notebooks, codes, documentation will be maintained at GitHub where applicable. And this takes the approach that the best way to learn is to teach others.
Yeah. All right, and that's time. Are you good?
Yep, I'm good.
Right. Okay, you can bring the screen share down.
Yep.
I'm going to reset the clock.
And if I can find it.
Yeah, just top center.
Yep.
All right, you got it. Nice. All right, great. Thank you, Robert. That was fantastic. And I would like to just let viewers know that I kind of made a mistake earlier. The links are down below in the description for each of the proposals. If you want to go to those links, you can review the proposals while they describe it. Please feel free to create an account on Project Catalyst. Leave them some kudos on Project Catalyst. And leave the feedback on Project Catalyst. That would be the most beneficial thing you can do for the people appearing on the Gauntlet today. All right, so thank you for that. And so we'll roll over to the questions. Who would like to go first? Boone, Philippe, Umed, what questions you got?
So, great presentation. I'm a little bit confused as to the product that you're actually providing. Is it just an educational-based product based on NFTs and with the capabilities that are coming to Cardano, or are you creating a unique token? What exactly? I'm just trying to figure out what exactly is the deliverable.
The primary deliverables are educational content of basically including all of those components. So the custom tokens, the use of them as NFTs, the extended UTXO model, applying that to a real problem, which is the smart market stuff, and then using that the Oracle pool architecture. So it's combining all of them together to show how all the architecture works together.
Okay, but if someone were to create a product or create an NFT on Cardano, basically what you're saying, you're providing that base for them to utilize whatever research or whatever code that you provide in order to create that in the future?
Not so much NFTs, because they're going to be pretty straightforward on Cardano. Custom tokens are basically designed in. You can do that really easily. The real essence of this is using protocol engineering and designing the actual smart auction protocols and hooking them into a Oracle pool and making them work.
Okay.
So you're talking more like the marketplace and contracts for selling the NFTs. Is that what you're saying?
So basically someone can come along and say, hey, I've got this market opportunity, which is a matching problem, is what is known in the game theory side of things, or market design. I want to know how to do this on Cardano. How can I go about doing it? Right, here's the smart market designs. I can take those. I can then go to market with those and start focusing on my specific problem that we're going into. Because basically there are a lot of different, there's far more matching markets than there are your, say, continuous double Dutch auctions. These things can be applied to all sorts of different domains. So we want to basically inspire people to understand that, show how it can be implemented on Cardano, and then basically take what we've done, the research and the educational material, and then go and use it to actually develop their own products. As I said, we're not trying to be our own business or our own startup or a dApp. We're basically trying to figure out how to show the Cardano architecture in the best light possible.
Okay, so when you started talking about the markets and types of matching that solves the multidimensional problem of let's say the tokens, I immediately thought about applying it to PoolTool. Let's say that we have lots of pools with different sort of features, and that presents a matching problem, right? And let's say if every pool were to create and identify itself on Cardano blockchain as an NFT, then your protocol will be able to help the delegators to, depending on their preferences on different dimensionalities, to pick the pool of their preference and delegate to it. So is that a fair assessment of the capability?
That's bang on correct. Yes.
So and I can see the application of that in PoolTool, but my question is, well, first of all, as a finance guy, I noticed that you're asking for half the fund. It reduces your chance of getting the funds the way that the system works. So my question to you is that I like the project, but is it possible to modulize it so that and you addressed it a little bit in your presentation, but I thought there's two solutions to that. One is that if you break it down into smaller portions where we can see the progress, then that could be more digestible, or you could just wait until the fund gets bigger.
We can do both, yeah. So it was always a trade-off. And so we've designed the deliverables to try and be as transparent as possible and to show progress in terms of what's going on. There's also a bit of context behind here. Obviously, I'm a software engineer and Andrew's a software engineer, but the others aren't. But they're really, really keen to actually try and understand. So the mere fact that this came together, they're actually trying to learn how to use Cardano effectively. And what is going on here. So in a sense, we're kind of eating our dog food to help produce the material and learn and to reach out into other people. And so part of the rationale for putting in such a big ask here was really, to get that consistency of learning, to really get the consistency of results, to apply it across the board, we're focusing very much on challenge two's problem, right? That is, how do we attract dApp developers and entrepreneurs? We are not trying to be entrepreneurs or dApp developers ourselves. So the next fund 3, may have a completely different challenge, and we would adapt to that, whatever was needed there. It may not suit a smart market proposal that uses NFTs.
And that's time.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Umed and Boone. I very much appreciate it. That was time. For the viewers, please start posting your comments in chat. We have a lot of questions, so post your questions in chat. We have a lot of questions there. Let's go to that. I'm going to reset the clock, and then we will have 5 minutes for chat. So we'll do in a nutshell answers. Philippe, did you see any there that are ready to go?
Yes. Joseph Engel Major says, can you expand slightly on what key differentiators between Cardano and others you could show by implementing these NFTs?
So it's not so much NFTs. The thing here is we've got custom tokens in Cardano already. So that's one really big feature. It's really easy to do them, all right? So that's what the multi-asset support is. So we can show that it's really easy. The other aspects are more to do with the auction protocols. The whole Ouroboros sort of clock, the logical clock that it's got on, is really important to smart contracts. We need some notion of time. You've got the UTXO model itself is a completely different approach than, say, the account-based model. And I could rattle on more if you want to, but that's just some of them.
Okay. We have another question from Alessandro Conrad. Will this project also try to build a standard NFT smart contract like the ERC 721 contracts on Ethereum?
There's absolutely no need to do that because that's what the multi-asset support is. And in fact, this is where this project started from because Nick and a few others were actually chatting on Telegram saying, let's look at ERC 20 and ERC 721. And I said, hey, you don't need to do that. And they said, why not? And I said, well, go read these papers. And they did. And that said, okay. So I pointed them to the 3 papers covering custom tokens and stuff like that. And the group went off and read them, started discussing them. And I said, okay, well, I'll engage a little bit more because I was showing that they were interested and capable of doing it.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And Robert, my question is Jonah Koch one of your teammates?
Yes.
Okay, because he is in chat helping people answer questions. So if anyone sees answers from Jonah, that is one of the persons on the team. And there's a question from Your Cardano Update, and the person asks, how will you maintain the long-term sustainability? What happens after you have exhausted the funds from Catalyst?
Okay, so this project is very much geared for this 6-month period. We have literally taken the challenge to the letter and said, right, how do we track? It's designed for the 6 months period to work in. Everything is open and released and available. The next fund round, we may say, hey, we've done such great work here. Let's go and do a market. Actually go to market with a smart market. It could be in trading card games. It could be solving the fertilizer problem in Ethiopia. But and our particular interests are in art and music and that sort of domain, so we might do stuff in that area. So we would follow on with what we've got.
Okay. Robert, I have a personal question. So one of my concerns is how do you prevent, since the proposal is based in education, how do you prevent your information from being redundant? I mean, IOG and Emergo, they're working on products, and things are changing day by day, week by week, and versions of smart contracts may evolve within the next 3 to 6 months to 9 months, and information may be given out by IOG. So how do you prevent redundancy from the information that you'll be providing versus the information that IOG and Emergle will be providing?
Okay, so some of the video content that we'll produce, etc., is difficult to change, but the rest is relatively straightforward to change. There's another aspect to this, is what we're actually trying to demonstrate is some of the fundamental architectures of Cardano. So they're not going to change radically. You're not going to see Cardano switching out extended UTXO model to do account-based model. Instead, you're building accounts on top of the UTXO model. We're not going to see Ouroboros change radically in terms of removing like the epochs or epochs out of things, which gives us the logical clock. Custom tokens aren't going to be changed radically. What will change is the specifics of a protocol, such as we may find that for a given particular market, there's a special need to tweak the protocols and parameters around it accordingly. Now, that is very, very specific to a market, right? There is, if I was dealing with auctioning airplane slots versus doing food distribution, they are completely different matching problems. But the architecture of what we're doing should actually suffice for all of those. Just the components inside of it may change.
Okay, another question from chat from DC.
30 seconds.
Are you creating a marketplace or a prototype? This is from DC.
It's a prototype.
Okay.
Okay, and we're good.
Okay.
Excellent.
Sounds good. Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
All right. So, folks in chat, lastly, we'll be moving over to Boone. His proposal's linked down below. What I'd like you to do right now, give us some feedback for Robert. Let us know in the chat on a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being average and 10 being awesome. How did Robert do with his proposal, the information presented? And let us know in the chat. And also feel free to click on the link and give him some kudos and give him some feedback on Project Catalyst as you see appropriate. All right. So lastly, we're going over to Boone, who has a very interesting proposal for us. Boone, what do you have for us, sir?
Thanks for having me on, you guys. Appreciate it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So I'm VC fund proposing to build a dApp, and this dApp is called WeThinkItMatters, also known as WTIM. And the whole point of this app is to leverage the money that businesses are spending every year on advertising to create more funding for nonprofits. And this all started because 11 years ago, I started a nonprofit, and I quickly realized that as a nonprofit, it's incredibly hard to compete in the marketplace when companies are spending billions of dollars to get people's attention. But as a nonprofit, if you spend $1 on advertising, you get criticized for not giving it to the cause. So I realized that as a nonprofit, you really were at a disadvantage because you can't really compete for the people's attention like brands do, and we're all competing for the same consumer dollars at the end of the day. So what we're looking at here on this slide is in 2019, brands worldwide spent over $500 billion on advertising. And during that same exact amount of time, they donated about $21 billion to nonprofits. So as you can see, there's a little bit of difference between what they spend on advertising and what they give the brands. But also during that same period of time, American individuals did primarily most of the giving that supported the nonprofits that are making a difference in our communities worldwide. Of the money that brands spend on advertising, some of those things are Facebook, Google, billboards, magazine ads. There's lots of different ways for people to advertise, but brands to advertise, but generally 0% of the money that brand spent with whatever company they are advertising with did any good for people or nonprofits, or in some cases, advertising is actually even harmful, I think, the way it misleads people and maybe encourages them to do bad behaviors. The only good thing about advertising now that sometimes does help causes is, cause marketing has been around for a few, years. It all started really about I think like 15 years ago with American Express did a campaign where if you open up an American Express card, they gave funds to restore the Statue of Liberty. And that kind of started the whole brands bringing attention to a cause and but generally 0% of the money spent advertising that cause actually goes to the cause. The marketing is usually then asking people to do the giving. The way We Think It Matters is different is We Think It Matters is an advertising platform. So it's a for-profit company, just like many other businesses out there. But we offer businesses a digital advertising platform where they can know that 60% of the money that they spend advertising on We Think It Matters will go to nonprofits that are partnered in the campaign. And the way that works is, a brand such as Cardano, for example, could say, besides, building awesome blockchain, we also care about this cause. And then whatever that cause was, they could choose 2 nonprofits that are working on issues on that cause. And then people who were exposed to the campaign would be able to choose which one of those nonprofits they wanted to receive a portion of the campaign dollars. And the way that works is, imagine a business spends $100,000. So that would mean that 100,000 people needed to engage in the campaign and vote for one of those nonprofits that are featured. Based on those votes, half of the campaign dollars go to nonprofits based on those votes. 10% of the campaign dollars go to a lottery to be won by other nonprofits that aren't part of the campaign. And 10% of the dollars go into a lottery for people who voted in the campaign to win. So in the end, 60% of the dollars spent on We Think It Matters campaigns goes to nonprofits, and 10% goes to the members engaged, and 30% goes to We Think It Matters to run the whole platform. Right now, currently nonprofits, they're paying to use fundraising technology. And then sometimes they're even spending money on advertising to get that fundraising technology in front of people so they can ask people to then give money. So it's kind of, nonprofits are having to pay for technology and then spend money to get that technology in front of people to be able to try to fundraise. And the way We Think Matters is different is we're a free fundraising platform for nonprofits. So like I said, this all started 11 years ago when I started a nonprofit and realized how disadvantaged they were. And this is what We Think It Matters is we are a platform that they can use for free. And most nonprofits already have existing email databases and social networks. And so what we give them are digital tools that they can engage those existing networks with, campaigns that really if they're featured in the campaign, all they have to do is ask for people to vote for them and they're going to get dollars, no donation required. Or if they're not featured in the campaign, they can just invite people to join WTIM or take part in other campaigns. And just like in affiliate marketing, they would get revenue from those affiliate actions. So that brings me to how people find out about We Think It Matters campaigns. So like I mentioned, nonprofits who are part of campaigns, if you were chosen to be featured in a campaign, you're going to do all you can to reach out to your email and social networks because you're already doing these activities. But in most cases, when you're doing it before, you were having to ask people to give you money. So then like I mentioned before, these are tools that all they've got to do is ask people to engage. They don't have to ask people to actually give. And then the other way campaigns reach people is that members of WTIM. So when you're a member and you vote in a campaign, you might feel inclined because it's a cause you really care about that you want to, post it on your Facebook or Twitter and let people know that you voted and encourage them to come and take part in the campaigns as well. And this brings me to kind of how this is going to benefit Cardano and also members. So we're going to have 2 native assets that are built on Cardano. One is the WTIM token, which is kind of like the basic attention token in some ways, but a lot better in some other ways. And then also WTIM share certificates. And what a share certificate is you'll get one the minute you join WTIM, you'll have one share certificate, and that will always give you a chance to win a portion of advertising revenue from the company as long as you take part in campaigns. So, and tokens can be used to buy more share certificates. So you'll always get tokens when you take actions on the site, whether you're voting in campaigns or sharing or whatever it is. They have different token rewards, and then you can either sell those tokens or you can trade them for more share certificates, which increases your chances of winning money in lotteries. Our go-to-market strategy for this is when it's built up is, and why this could be so powerful for Cardano is, we're willing and want to feature Cardano as, one of the reasons businesses and stuff can trust our marketing stack. So, by having our advertising on a smart contract, advertisers can know that when we say 60% is going to nonprofits, that 60% will be going to nonprofits. And they can also know that, the clicks they got were real clicks. And one of the great things about, We Think It Matters and what we've been working on is there's an organization called TechSoup. And TechSoup, their whole thing is they provide discounted software and hardware to nonprofits, and they have over 1 million nonprofit partners who use them to get, everything from Windows to Macs to whatever it is, technology related. And as soon as the We Think It Matters app is finished and operational, TechSoup is ready to promote that to over 1 million nonprofit partners. So if you
30
were
seconds left.
Thank
30
you.
seconds.
If you were a nonprofit and you had already been paying for fundraising tools that you had to ask people to give you money on, and you got an email or a notification from TechSoup, an organization you trust, saying, hey, there's a new fundraising platform and you can use it for free and you can get funding without having to ask people to give money. How many nonprofits out of 1 million do you think would want to use something like that? And then how many of them do you think would be promoting it like crazy to their networks and databases?
All right, excellent. And that's time.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Boone. And you can bring your screen share down with the top center of your screen. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Okay, so we're going to go on to the Gauntlet questions, and I'll pass that to Umed, Robert, and Philippe. And before I do, I would like to really thank Boone and Robert for burning the late night oil and the early morning oil. These guys are champions on staying up late and getting up early. Their hours right now are brutal, so thank you guys for doing that.
Thank you guys for doing what you do.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, Boone, I have a quick question. So I'm skeptical of nonprofits to start off with, so this question may come at a slightly strange angle. But in the beginning of your presentation, you mentioned that there's a lot of slippage or a lot of money lost through the advertising campaigns that maybe should be actually donated to that particular charity. But towards the end of your presentation, that you mentioned there was some sort of profit split. So token holders, WTIM token holders would get 10% of the ad revenue, and they'd be able to redeem it for something, and 60% would actually go to the actual charity. So if the charities are inefficient themselves, and then there's also slippage or there's also money lost in the WTIM process, how much money is getting from the actual advertising campaign to the actual person that needs help? Isn't that additional step just losing more money?
No, and so here's and this is one of the things I'm running into having to explain this, and is you got to remember. So number one, nonprofits are not. I didn't mean to imply this ever. Nonprofits are not really inefficient. Nonprofits are some of the most efficient businesses you'll ever meet. It's amazing what they can do with the funds that they get. So, and then the other thing, We Think It Matters has nothing to do with money that's already being donated from businesses to nonprofits. We're a marketing company just like any other marketing platform. So you got to compare us to like a Google ad or a Facebook ad or a billboard, right? So when a business spends money on a billboard, $0 of what they spent on that billboard ad did anything to help a nonprofit. We're different in the way that we're an advertising channel media platform where when a business chooses to use advertising dollars, money that they were never going to give to they were never going to donate, they were going to spend this money on a Facebook ad, or they're going to spend it on a magazine ad, or they could spend it on a We Think It Matters ad. The difference is if they choose a We Think It Matters ad, 60% of that, whatever they spend, is going to go to nonprofits. So we're creating new money for nonprofits through money that was only going to be spent on marketing by businesses.
So, Boone, that kind of begs a question, though. So let's say that I'm a corporation. I'm spending $100, right? And 60 of it goes, according to your business model, goes to the nonprofits. Now, my thinking would be, what if that 60 actually went to advertising? Wouldn't that be better for me? So in order for me to make the choice equivalent, you have to be 60% or thereabouts better than the alternatives. So
So what you're thinking is that because 60% of the dollar went to a nonprofit, that you somehow lost something in there. But let me show you, say, for example, so right now, if I'm a bank and I advertise on Google Ads, it's going to cost me about $66 for a click. And what I'm going to get for that click is someone's going to land on my landing page, and then they're probably going to look at something, and then they're going to hit the back button, and they're going to go back and go through the rest of the results. So what We Think It Matters is we're $1 per click. So what your business is paying for is $1 for an engagement. And then in that engagement, they're going to get seen 3 times. They're going to get seen in the campaign page when they engage with a person on choosing which nonprofit they want to do. The brand's going to get seen in a thank you landing page where they get to offer the person who engaged a second chance to take a survey to increase the rewards and stuff they get. And then they're also going to get a third impression when, after the campaign's over and all the funds had been gone to the 2 nonprofits that are part of it, those nonprofits that are part of the campaign, they've agreed to tell a story about what that money created for them. So in a $10,000 campaign, say, for example, one nonprofit gets $4,000, they're going to write a story about what that $4,000 did for them. And all those stories are going to be then sent back to the people who voted, saying, thank you for taking part in this campaign to help us address whatever this cause was. Because you voted for this nonprofit, here's what you helped make a difference. So a business is always just paying $1 for the engagement on a We Think It Matters things, but We Think It Matters is choosing to give 60% of our revenue to these nonprofits who are partners in these campaigns. So, unlike a normal billboard that you just drive by and you might see it, or a Facebook ad that you might click and then view a landing page and go back, We Think It Matters campaign engages people multiple times for a much lower cost per click than what most brands are already paying for similar advertising.
All right, and that's
great,
time. Yeah. That's time. Okay, thank you, Boone. Thank you, Umed, for the questions.
Thank you for great questions.
Yeah, and we're going to shift over to questions in the chat, and thank you for that, Boone, for answering those there. All right, so the first one that I scroll to here on the chat is from Jonah Koch, and that was great concept. How does it address the Fund2 challenge of attracting developers and entrepreneurs?
So I'm an entrepreneur, and it attracted me, and I've brought along with me. I've already been working on this project, and we're also in the UN Hackathon challenge and stuff. So, but there's also, before I have hired a Haskell developer who never had even heard of Cardano before being introduced to We Think It Matters. So, and then also currently working with ABCD, the African Blockchain Center for Development. And, so currently We Think It Matters is already brought in multiple devs to be building things on Cardano. And if we get this funding, it will help continue to encourage these devs to learn more about building on Cardano.
Okay, I see. So you're managing all the moving parts, and there's other devs on your team. All right. So the next question was from your Cardano update, and it was the same question: how's it help bring devs in? I think we got that one. Philippe, what's the next one we have there?
I have a question from DC. How is this different from any nonprofit launching an IC or a custom token on Cardano? I mean, on your website, it seems like you've launched a token on Tron. So, like, how is this different from?
Yeah, I did launch a coach token on Tron a while ago when I was, trying to learn about blockchain and figure out how to do this. And I decided that Tron really wasn't the blockchain that I wanted We Think It Matters to be built on. And so, I know we have an ERC converter coming, but we need a, TRX converter, Tron converter. But so the reason a nonprofit, would use We Think It Matters, and there's no reason they couldn't still create their own token. So the WTIM token is really a rewards token inside of our system. So it's a utility token, and a nonprofit would use We Think It Matters platform as a fundraising platform. They're not necessarily going to be holders of the WTIM token. Their nonprofits are going to be using our platform as a way that they generate real funding dollars, by either like affiliate like actions, by sharing links and different things like that. So you know they still could create tokens. We have really nothing to do with the WTIM token is primarily for members rewards, the people who are voting in the campaigns.
All right. Another question from Eye of the King. Is it possible to trace exactly where the money goes? I'm guessing he's referring to the advertising campaigns.
Yeah, that's one of the things that why I want to be on the Cardano blockchain and build. So We Think It Matters, in reality, you don't really need a blockchain. You could just be a centralized advertising platform, but because of what we're saying, we're the whole 60% going to charity and 10% going to members and stuff. Blockchain creates that transparency and accountability that's really easy for anyone to see that when we say here's where it went, we can just point them to the block and say, here's where that campaign was, and you can see here's where the money went to this nonprofit, and here's where it went to that nonprofit, and here's where it went to the lottery to the nonprofits, and here's where it went to the lottery for the members, and here's the member that won. And what happens with the money after it goes to the nonprofits and the winner of the lottery, who knows, but we'll be very easily able to show that, to the public and advertisers, when you spend $1 here, here's where it went.
DC asks, how do you plan to match Google Ads exposure level? And I guess you can branch it out to every big advertising platform.
So nonprofits are our powerhouse, so as I mentioned before, TechSoup has over 1 million nonprofit partners. And I'm going to say on average, those nonprofits have over 10,000 people in their email databases. Some of those nonprofits have multi-millions of people in their databases. And as I mentioned before, nonprofits are already paying for fundraising technology. And so We Think It Matters is a fundraising tool that they can add to their stack, and it allows them to, easily get funding from sharing, about the site and campaigns. And so, when campaigns are part of a campaign, when the two nonprofits are featured in a campaign, they're going to be always heavily driving that campaign because they've got financial incentive. But even nonprofits that aren't part of those campaigns still have financial incentive to help other causes raise, funds. And so, even a few nonprofits promoting one campaign would be a lot of attention.
Okay, and that is time. I'll just pick one random question at the end. Real quick answer. Boone, what is the price of your project in USD from Tresanova?
So in Fund 2, we're asking for 17,000, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, I believe it's 17,000.
Yeah, because it was, yeah. So I think I saw that in the proposal there, 16,000, 17,000. Excellent. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone in chat, for asking those questions. It really
And that's for a dApp that people can use.
Yeah, dApp that people can use. All right. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you, Boone. Thank you for burning the midnight oil. You as well, Robert, burning the late night oil. Okay. Early morning. And thank you, everyone who's participating, the viewers, for joining us here on the Gauntlet.
Yes.
Let us know in the chat, how did you like Robert's proposal on a scale of 1 to 10, with 5 being average and 10 being awesome? Let us know there. Also, check out the links. Make a account on Project Catalyst and leave these folks some feedback. If you really like the project, leave them some kudos, and you'll see how that works. Okay, and that's all I got, Philippe. What do we got to do to wrap up here, sir?
Yes, I want to thank the Cardano Foundation for sponsoring this podcast, and I'm going to give you three the final floor. So, Umed, Robert, Boone, thanks for joining us today. Do you have any last words for the listeners and viewers of the Cardano Effect? Umed, let's start with you.
Yes, I just wanted to tell everybody that PoolTool is going to transform itself. It's going to be a powerhouse of analytical information, both the ecosystem, Cardano ecosystem, stake pool operators, and the stakeholders will benefit immensely from it. So please vote for us, and we'll see you on the other side.
Okay. Robert?
Yeah, I think one of the strongest benefits of Cardano, the biggest selling point, is its true decentralization. But in order to be able to actually take advantage of that, we really need to seriously think about what sort of protocols economic identity means, what it actually means to be a financial operating system, and really amplify that.
All right. And Boone?
Vote for We Think It Matters, because we'll be a real use case in the world that normal people will want to use. So not everyone's in the yield farming, but most people like to donate and raise money for causes. So We Think It Matters is an app that could be in everyone's pocket.
All right.
Thank you. And I have one last comment, Philippe, and that is, I hope they raise the funds on Fund 3, because a lot of the comments in chat, the general theme I caught there was that they're like, hey, they need to get some more money in those funds, or something to that effect early on in the chat. And I was like, yeah, probably. That, because there's so many great projects, all right? So thanks a lot, guys, for going through the gauntlet. And
yes,
I'd pass one comment on that, is that as a community, we're all trying to learn and try and figure things out. So if you put too much money in the first fund, or even going up further, we don't actually learn properly as a community as a whole.
You got to do the experiment first and get it right. You got to get it right first.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, everyone. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. It's Thursday morning where I'm at, and we appreciate Umed, Robert, and Boone spending some time with us today. This is episode 3 of the Gauntlet series. We hope you enjoy this. We'll have another episode soon. And until the next episode of the Cardano Effect podcast. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.